This presentation will give a short explanation of differences in national culture and how these differences affect the culture in an organization. In terms of how an organization works and conducts its everyday work, it is an inevitability to not be influenced by the national culture in which the organization resides in. An example of different cultures is the comparison between American and Chinese negotiators, which was conducted by Graham and Lamb in 2003. This was a cross-cultural study that investigated what principles were behind the structure of different organizations in these nations. What was found from surveying American negotiators was that they based their values in egalitarianism and individualism, and this stems from their industrial background and the founding fathers. On the other side of the spectrum, in China, values are entailed with collectivism and an established hierarchy, and this comes from their agrarian background with a long tradition, but also from their well-established Communist Party. When faced with an issue, an American organization would take a sequential and reductionist approach and try to solve each part individually before moving on to the next one. And this is a result of their industrial background and reflects Ford's invention of the assembly lines. Chinese organizations, on the other hand, would take a holistic approach and will try to solve the issue as a whole, and this most likely arises from their tradition of natural medicine treating the whole body and soul rather than treating an illness locally. Hofstede in 1991 and his 6 dimensions of culture shows clear differences between cultures in Europe as well. He suggested that the motivation to work in Germany and Austria stems from the need to relieve stress and tension. Their societies are very performance-oriented and value masculinity and low power distance, with high uncertainty avoidance. France, on the other hand, have a communitarian society in which the organization is centered on a father figure. The idea is that this role will absorb stress and uncertainty from the organization and its employees. In comparison, Morden in 1995 found that the Netherlands and the Scandinavian countries value quality of work, individual rights, and farming cooperatives. This shows a feminine characteristic in which interpersonal relations, cooperation, and the de-emphasis of competition is central. As a consequence, Morden argues that in combination with low power distance, a bonus system in the company might be counterproductive. So what happens if 2 different cultures meet and there's a clash? Well, this happened when Mercedes and Chrysler merged in the late 1990s to become Daimler Chrysler, and this ended up being a total fiasco financially. Initially, the 2 companies had different views on formality, different philosophies on payments and expenses, and different operating styles. Chrysler made budget cars that were cheap and affordable, where in contrast Daimler aimed for a high-end audience with more expensive cars. The idea was that they would try and capture both audiences with the merge, but it ended up having the opposite effect and they had massive losses in sales. The German management for Mercedes became dominant and the satisfaction rate for Chrysler dropped off the chart. Thus, in 2007, Daimler sold Chrysler to Cerberus Capital Management for $6 billion. Thank you for watching.